I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. Wherever it is, when you're listening to this, we hope you're having a good one.
Absolutely.
Having a little fun with it today. Why not? We're both in a weird headspace.
We are in a weird headspace.
Yes, so, you know.
We don't usually do this at the end of the day. So.
No, we don't. But you got to mix it up. Got to keep it interesting.
Sure. It depends on the headspace you're in, whether or not this is, going to be good or not. If any of them are. I don't know.
It's hard to say.
But,
it's hard to say. But at the same time, we've always said we wanted to keep it real. What you're hearing is what you get.
This is pretty much it.
Yeah. So, got to mix it up a little bit.
Long day. Beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
Long day.
Still kind of bright.
Wish every day could be like this.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
It'd be such a more comfortable summer.
I'd be good with more clouds.
Fair.
I like a little overcast, but still warm and not humid. But anyway.
Could have been a touch warmer to make it like a beach day, but then again, when you're on the beach, there's a breeze, so it doesn't matter.
We're knocking on the door at 80 right now, and
no,
yeah.
No, I don't think it got above like mid 70s today.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. In the sun, we're over 80.
Sure, in the sun. Yeah, sure.
And the back deck showed low 80s last time I looked at it.
Just a beautiful day.
A nice day.
No
nice
humidity.
Day. Yeah, the humidity's good.
It's
a nice enough day that think people are driving stupid because you can hear them.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Lots of that.
So much of that.
And I thought we were gonna do something fun and things, and then it's just whatever you gravitated toward. I let you pick.
Sure.
This one doesn't seem very fun. It seems really deep.
Fun, potentially.
That's why I say I don't know if we're in the right headspace. I don't know if I'm in the right headspace for this, but...
Well, it's kind of an offshoot of... We are connected to a number of people, and we got to hear a bunch of stories today of some of the silliness going on in other people's lives, which, I'm glad it's not my life.
Yeah, I got my own.
But it's, it's a tangent of our life. We're connected. So, anyway, and then I saw this and go, this actually kind of fits with all of that other baloney going on around us.
It does.
And to an extent, us too. I mean, I think we're better than many. Wow. That got quieter. I don't know if anybody else heard that, but activity in the house just stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was weird.
That's okay.
Disconcerting. It's too quiet now. You need to turn on a noisemaker or something. Anyway. Squirrel. Yes. I have never hidden that fact.
Glitter. Shiny.
Anyway. Yes. Shiny. ADH. Hey, look,
and then
a squirrel.
You start making your own clickies. Anyway.
And I have been.
Yeah, I know.
Love the 3D printer. Can
make
all kinds of semi-useful fidgety things. Anyway, that's another thing entirely. In fact, I got something printing right now as we speak. Anyway.
Yes, you do.
Yep. Anyway, that's completely unrelated to anything that actually we were going to talk about, but that's okay because we're keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Anyway.
The prompt is, it's deep, it's a little long, it's a little deep. I'm not sure what angle you want it to take on this. I will do my best to use what brain power I have to join in this conversation.
Oh, sure. Okay. Says the trained counselor.
I'm tired. It's been a long day, and I also have functioned, and I'm not done functioning, and
Sure.
there's a point where you shut off.
Yeah, I don't have
And I
that.
didn't entirely shut it off, but like the deep stuff, you gotta shut that off.
I don't get that option. The only time my stuff shuts off is when I'm sleeping, and even then, Anyway, last night my brain was going to some places while I was sleeping. So no, it doesn't even shut off when I'm sleeping.
You have discussed with me that you've been a little on edge the last 3 days, so I can see where that's probably gonna control everything right now.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely tainting my brain. Anyway, this is a prompt that I came across, and a while ago, actually. I want to say I saved this, a couple months back. Just because it was interesting, and it kind of related to a lot of my past, people I know in my past and present. And I kept it, and I don't think I shared it with you before, but
it doesn't look familiar.
But anyway, and of course, the person that posted it, Lord only knows what training or whatever they have, or who they're quoting, or where that's coming from. So
yeah, this is not from.
You can take that with
cited source.
Take the specific. It starts with me explaining that according to psychology.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in big quotes.
Yeah, that's a giant this is just somebody tossing some stuff out there.
Yeah, you can say according to studies, cite your sources. So I'm saying cite your sources, and they didn't. But the concept that follows. Children raised in a toxic and chaotic environment often feel that healthy relationships are boring and don't feel connected unless there's a spark. They don't know how to function in peace, so they create drama for comfort.
This resonates in a few different ways, and yes, I've got enough in my trained brain that I can leak some of it out, right? But the wording kind of in the middle there, relationships. Sorry, let me back up. Chaotic. Oh my goodness. I might as well just start. Okay. Children raised in a toxic and chaotic environment often feel that healthy relationships are boring and don't feel connected unless there is a spark. That's kind of a weird.
Well, and
there's no spark, so.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I get it.
They're so accustomed to drama. Well, and here's my...
Yeah, that's the second part.
My part,
The first part seems to me like there's no, light and fluffy, and there's nothing, instantaneous and magnetic about it.
If you're searching for the Hallmark Disney version, you've been lied to,
but
and
most
you
drama
believe it.
people are looking for the
Yes,
Hallmark.
they're looking for the drama, but to me, there's a little caveat in there. It doesn't have to be a toxic.
That's true.
Relationship, just one filled with strife. There are people who
or if there isn't any, something you can make into it.
Well, sure, but I mean, okay, everybody's relationship is its own dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
There's.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the degree of relationship or the
well,
kind.
Well, specifically, children raised in a toxic and chaotic environment. Well, okay, that's their family.
Sure.
And that environment,
whatever that was.
Chaos sometimes just happens.
Yeah.
And when you live there, you become comfortable there.
Sort of. Yeah. At least.
But and there's nothing wrong with, in and of itself, being used to the chaos, because chaos is going to come whether you want it or not. You do need to learn how to survive in the chaos, and the people that develop the skills necessary to thrive in chaos survive to the other side a little bit better than most. So there's something to be said there. But when all you know is drama and chaos, and they imply toxic, but I mean, I'm not even going to go
But
toxic.
they don't imply they state. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Well, sure, they do. When that's all you ever know, when it's not there, you think something's wrong because you've been
You don't know how to
programmed.
operate outside of that.
Your entire life has been programmed. We've talked about it. We model behavior for our children.
Yeah.
What we actually do is perceived by our children before we are cognizant of the fact that they're paying attention. And what we do becomes the model for what they learn and or program themselves to think of as normal. Which is kind of sad in a way. Because it would be really nice to tell them, you know what, it's not normal to struggle this hard all the time.
But it's our normal.
But it's our normal. Which would be really nice to just flip that switch and go, hey, here you go. Just to them, it's normal. Because they've seen it.
So that means anything else is going to look like a breeze, huh?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's going to feel wrong because that's not what's normal.
And that's why we do our best to continue to have conversations.
Yes, it is. Well, and and our children
Let me explain to you what is or should be normal.
Well, and we've been having those conversations with the girls since they were little.
Mm-hmm.
We've always spoken into their lives. It's like, hey, this is where we're at, but ideally, this isn't what we'd be dealing with.
Well,
but,
because from a young age they were exposed to so much, in more in regard to health than anything else.
Yeah.
That they didn't know until we did have to teach them, and then our youngest, I would say, was probably the most vocal in her understanding, as in when our diet changed and our lifestyle habits changed, and they were young.
Yeah,
right?
she loves that to this day.
We were, learning things about nutrition and diet, and for ourselves and our particular set of allergies in this house and digestive issues.
Mm-hmm.
So when that carried over to my father, and I don't know why it didn't resonate with him so heavily with my mom. Maybe it was that whole "but grandma makes the cookies" thing. I don't know. Because I don't remember them giving her a hard time like they did my dad. My father, and she especially, our youngest especially, just...
Oh, she relayed into him. And she was what? 8?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
She was like 8 years old, just laying into this 55, 60-year-old man.
Yeah.
Just
really.
giving him absolute...
Oh, no, I mean, he would have been mid-60s at that point.
Okay, yeah, but
Yeah,
just laying into him, giving him absolute crap over the stuff that he was eating and doing, and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever. It was...
He passed away at 67, and this would have been within the year and a half that he passed. I'd take him to the grocery store, and he'd want his, sugar-free cookies. But then, but the girls knew that he'd slather frosting or butter on them.
Yep.
Which is just...
You put enough butter on them, they don't taste half bad. It's
or the salt-free saltines that he would also put butter on.
Yeah.
It was disgusting and awful, and
sure.
But they knew.
Yes.
And it was beginning stages of them being able to equate right and wrong with health and diet.
Sure.
And it has been an interesting conversation through the years.
It certainly has.
More than anything else, by far, they have not known health from me.
No.
What version I am is what they've known.
Yes.
And now that they are adults, they have a different perspective than they did when this journey started.
Mm-hmm.
And what they had to witness me go through.
And
the days laying in bed and not being able to move and all the stuff.
Yep.
But
the post-op stuff was always a blast.
The toxicity, I guess you'd say, of it was the life change, right? Like, they didn't know any different, but they did. They knew. They weren't seeing it in, other people.
No, there was a dissonance there that, we...
So it's the active
You can
drama.
deal with cognitively, but when you're young, you don't operate cognitively. So there was always that.
They didn't know it was drama. It was just every
No.
day.
Well, and I think we did. Okay, I grew up with a little bit of drama, but it was different. You grew up with a bunch of drama, but it was different.
I was able to separate them from it as readily as I could after
Sure.
our parents passed. Yes.
So, well, I mean, even before they passed, we had issues that we had to work on. We had our problems.
Say my parents passed.
We
Sorry.
had, we had our issues. We had our things, and I mean, heck, we still have our occasional. We have our rough edges rubbing against each other on occasion.
You mean among our family?
I mean us, just us.
Oh, sure.
Sure. I mean, we're
We're
people.
married.
We're people, and we spend time together. Eventually, we're going to butt heads. Anyway,
But we never raised them to think that, like,
no,
arguing was some giant red flag for divorce.
no, not at all. But so we modeled for the most what I would say
Conversation.
Well, yeah, but I mean, beyond what we said, we were living it. We were going to figure it out. We're together. We're figuring it out. We gave them as stable as we were capable of life, to the point that they look at other relationships surrounding us, the friends and family, the church families that are around us, and they can see, it's like, why is that so messed up? And then we talk about it, and they'd understand. It's like, oh, well, okay, they've got this going on, and this going on, and this going on, but those two people aren't. It's like they're not even on the same page, and they began to see other people's dysfunctions.
Mainly among the closest people to us, but yeah.
Yeah, so now they look at their friends and the people their age, and they're looking at them like, okay, well, they're making really bad choices. Like, well, yes, but look at the bad choices. It's like their house was chaos.
And they've caught on to that.
Well,
like,
they
they
have.
can actually
They have.
say that, yeah, but I know what they grew up with, basically.
Yes.
I know
Well,
what their parents were like.
all of that, and it's like, okay, well, now in their own life, they're duplicating. They know that they want peace, but they are terrified of it, and they create drama where it didn't need to be through their choices.
And our daughters are able to label that.
Very much so. And,
I'm kind of proud of that.
yeah, well, and growing up, again, my specific brand of neurospicy, I was a people watcher. I watch people a lot. Their behaviors. I found that I could fairly accurately anticipate people's reactions to situations. And there were, like my best friend. My best friend growing up, like, we spent so much time together, it was stupid. And, for like the first grade, I didn't even know his name, and we were friends at first grade. Anyway, it ended up kind of becoming my neighbor, spent a lot of time together. And his relationships, and there were a lot of relationships, just always exploded. And like always, it's like it was drama from the get-go. And I've talked about the guy I talked to about fishing in Crazy Fish Pond.
Yeah, it's a good story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was my buddy, and then I knew his parents, and there was no peace there.
Now, to clarify, the Crazy Fish conversation was
Was
somebody
a completely
else.
different.
But you're talking about.
I could have the exact.
You're talking about the childhood friend
Yes.
being
I
that
could-
crazy fish.
Yeah,
Fisher.
He was an expert crazy fish angler. And he was going out after it intentionally, and whether he realized it or not, it was his parents' drama. I mean, his dad was married like 8 times, which I still haven't figured that one out because I met the man. Had like 13 kids, if I remember the numbers correctly. Maybe it was married 5 and 13 kids.
Something atrocious.
Something like that. Anyway. And he was a piece of work. And his mom, tough woman. Little, but tough. Very, very tough woman. And as when he passed at their funeral, they were talking about people's first memories of them. And the first memory this one person had was his mom chasing his dad down the street with a broom, trying to take his head off. Just screaming his head off. Screaming her head off, chasing him down the street. And that was their relationship for the entire time. I don't think she got to the point where she was chasing him with a broom again. Not that I ever saw. But it was always that kind of energy and drama. And for him, that was normal. So if it didn't have that drama, like even his sister was involved with a guy that her dad hated with a passion. And that drama is what drove him or her to that boy. And because that kind of drama is what's normal. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's what a relationship is that kind of freaking chaos all the time. And like, my buddies moved across the country, all over the place, following this girl, that girl, this job, whatever. And it always involves a high level of drama. If it doesn't have that high level of drama, it's just, he doesn't feel right there. And if it gets comfortable.
That's how it used to be. I don't think it's changed, but.
He's.
Not last I knew.
Not moving around as much from last I could tell. Haven't been in touch in a while. I've reached out, but didn't get any response the last time. Anyway, that's another thing entirely. We'll see how that goes. But, when I read that, it kind of resonated. It's like, okay, well, growing up, this person and this family member and that family member and then this friend and that friend. And then where we are now, it's like, okay, well, that couple, yeah, okay. And then, and look at their kids. Oh yeah, there we go. Seeing the same thing over again. It's like, you see it. And we're always struggle with okay, I see it. I know it. I recognize it. What the heck are we supposed to do about it? In all honesty, what are we supposed to do about that?
As we are navigating that to a degree with multiple situations.
See, and there is part of the problem, too. It's the multiple situations.
You want to be helpful, but you have to know boundaries. And then on the other side of that, teaching our children that's healthy to have boundaries. It's okay to want to be helpful, but to have boundaries and limits.
Yes.
And you and I have had our experiences of going well past boundaries and limits to be able to try and unsuccesscul because it wasn't on us.
No. And therein lies part of the problem, though, is for me. I'm not speaking for you. For me, one of the issues is when you see it, and it's obvious. It's like, hey, you're heading towards a wall. Like, you're heading towards a wall at speed.
But that person isn't going to hear you.
And
they've got to come to their own realization.
And that was part of the other, another situational bit of drama is we see it. It's like, you're not too far gone. We know you're not too far gone. It's obvious you're not too far gone. You're both capable and intelligent and you want better. And we get that. But we're not in a position where we can speak into your life like that. And then, so we spoke to a third party that did have the authority to speak into that situation. And instead of using it as an opportunity to aid in healing, they turned it into something that created more strife.
Mhm.
And then it's like, okay, well, now what? I still don't know. I don't have a good answer. I still...
You back away. It's not on us.
Yeah, but it's kind of...
And that's where you do have to know, or I'm going to refer to the song, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to run.
Well, and...
You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run.
Sure.
Because there are things that you can be part of and it can be in your life. And again, multiple situations I could talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some things we can do something about. Others, no. Other than to, you pray for them and you do your best for loving on them in the moment and doing what you can. But it really is.
Show up and show your support.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't even mean supporting the drama and the chaos.
No.
It's supporting the person in where they are, if that's a willingness to change, if that's a willingness to move beyond, just whatever that is. And that's hard too when you know they're not likely to actually try to move forward and beyond.
Well, and I think that's where being self-reflective is a good thing, but most people aren't. Not really. If you're in a relationship that's chaos, or, you wouldn't even recognize, if all you've ever known is the storm, you don't recognize that it's a storm. So why would you try and get out of the storm or calm the waters?
A trick.
Yeah,
it's an illusion.
Yeah.
Been there too.
It's like you freak out on the calm water. Like most people don't know or aren't aware that the chaos isn't the norm.
It's like not supposed to be.
There's nothing wrong with having chaos in your life. It is energy. It's interesting. But it shouldn't be your life.
You're blowing up anything that's good because you don't know how to handle anything that's good, which is very common.
Yeah. This is not one of those I'm not promoting, but there's the whole men going their own way movement. And some of the stuff that's come out of it is actual discussion of what it is that guys actually want in a relationship. And if you actually get into you weed through all of the BS and get to core concepts, there's really like 3 core concepts. It's like that a guy is looking for. Like legitimately looking for. And one of the biggest ones is peace. That, when I'm having a bad day, it's been rough. I'm tired. I got my butt handed to me all night long. I'm just mentally or emotionally I'm done. I want to come home and I want to find you and I want to take a minute and I'll nuzzle into your shoulder. If you're on the couch, I'll put my head in your lap and I'll just breathe.
Mm-hmm. You have.
And because to me, you're a source of peace. You're also one of the biggest sources of stress in my life, to be fair.
Oh, thank you, honey.
But it's not.
That's so sweet. Thank you for following that up.
But it's not. It's not that you are an intentional cause of stress. But medical stuff is stressful, and that is a big concern in my life. But you yourself, you are the source of peace in my life, and that's not something that people are getting. It's like they're not they don't know what to do with peace. They don't know to seek peace. But if they really got down to the brass tacks of it all, that is what they need. They need that, specifically, that person that can bring them peace. And I think the other two parts are, just because I mentioned it, it's like, one is the guy needs a cheerleader. Doesn't need fanatics, doesn't need, it's like, criticism. They need somebody that's going to go, that's great, you're doing awesome. It's like, thank you for doing what you do, kind of thing. It's like, and the third one just blew out of my head. It was right there a second ago. Mm-hmm. But it was like peace, cheerleader, and someone that brings them respect from their fellows. Mm-hmm. Quite literally, they want, a guy needs, to a degree, a woman to stand next to him that his buddies go, I wish I had a woman like that in my life. There's no greater compliment that his buddies can ever give him than that.
I don't think your buddies know me to say
that. Yeah, all of my buddies, their wives left.
Oh my.
So,
there's a part of this
there's that.
What doesn't resonate right. And
What's that?
I often feel that healthy relationships are boring and don't feel connected unless there's a spark. It's just oddly worded and strange because it
sort of is. Yeah.
You don't feel healthy relationships are boring. Well, they're going to feel that if everything is drama, and a healthy relationship isn't drama. They don't feel connected unless there's a spark. When you hear that term spark, it's more like the sunshine, rainbows, and like attraction.
Well,
and like that. Just the two things in my brain don't go together. So
okay,
I look at it more like they don't know what to do in they just don't know what to do in a healthy relationship.
Yes.
And they're bored when there isn't drama to a degree that they can connect with.
Yes. Well, and I think that's kind of what they're talking about, that there's that emotional spark. It's like, okay, well,
But that emotional spark doesn't have to be drama.
Well, that emotional spark is kind of BS to a degree in and of itself, just fundamentally. That butterfly in your stomach feeling, that's not love, that's anxiety. That's fear. It's the potential disaster that could happen, but it's coupled with the potential of how awesome it could be. And that's you've got that flip side of the coin. It could go either way, and it's that excited anxiety. That's butterflies in your stomach. That's not love. That's attraction and fear.
Makes sense.
If you have, and the problem is, media has been telling everybody for generations that it's that fuzzy, warm, fuzzy, fluttery in the stomach, like fireworks going off kind of feeling. It's like, no, that's all toxic. All of that stuff you just said, all of that is toxic. Now, there's nothing wrong with being just heart and soul dedicated and in love with your partner. But that doesn't put butterflies in your stomach. That brings a calm and a peace. It takes the fire that's there and turns it into something useful. It doesn't burn you up from the inside. It brings you warmth. And it's like the combustion in a car. It is, it's in a moment, it's explosive, but over the course of time, it's a useful driving force. But that's not, if you look at that instant, it's drama. But if you look at the totality, it's rhythmic and almost musical. There's a reason why guys really love cars. There's a rhythm. There's a rhythm of power and excitement in the rhythm, in that controlled, controlled
But
system,
somebody
I
that
guess.
only knows toxic chaos isn't necessarily going to recognize
No, unfortunately.
healthy rhythm.
No. And then they wonder why they got their heart broke again. Or why they got used again. Or why they're alone again. Because you haven't yet learned to recognize the power in peace. You know, I mean, there's a lot of weird esoteric stories, I guess, that kind of float around the outside of this, but I don't know if I've got one that really fits. But I mean, this is people have been so programmed to look for the drama and the excitement when what they need is something that will stand in the midst of the drama and the excitement. I mean, dramatic things are going to happen, exciting things are going to happen, terrifying things are going to happen. And you need that anchor in the center of it that brings the calm in the middle of the storm. You know, in the middle of the hurricane is that peace that everything else circles around.
Okay.
And what that...
And as stressful as I am, you must feel that.
Well, I do my best to be an anchor in your life. Now, admittedly, attraction between men and women, relationship ideals between men and women, they're asymmetrical. What you're looking for is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is not what you're looking for. The things I need are different from the things you need. The things you need are different from the things that I need. You know, and neither are wrong. It's just, it's a balance of things. I do my best to provide and to ensure that you are secure in as much as I am able to do so. And we have a home, and we have insurance, and I have a good paying job, and
practical things.
To provide as much security as I am able.
Yes.
And I know you need that. People need that in general, but psychologically speaking, sociologically speaking, that's a commonality for most women, is a need for security. That's where they find their peace. I feel secure, I'm at peace. It's a healthy place to be.
Yes. And most toxic people say the people that enjoy toxic chaos, they don't know peace.
And
they don't know how to identify those things.
And
they've likely never had them anyway.
Yeah, they identify security as hello, dog. They don't understand what security is. It's not necessarily, so it's practical things. It's money and things like that to an extent. But it's also security in the relationships. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Period. And for me, it is stressful when I'm not in a position where I can provide that security. And there is absolutely nothing I can do to secure your health.
No.
So that is stressful for me.
And all the things that we have tried to do to maintain what we call health have had issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to harp on that at all.
I know.
It's but when I say stress, it's like it's not you specifically causing stress. It's things going on in our life are stressful, and they have tended to focus around your health.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes. Now it's my turn for this little, hopefully paragraph in the chapter.
Yeah, this is pretty minute, actually.
I'll take it. Okay, I'll take it.
I'm confident it will continue to be minute.
As am I. But so like when I say stressful, that's what I'm talking about. But at the same time, in the midst of that, it does not change the fact that I am still strive to give you what you need. And part of that is I ain't going anywhere. It's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I got your back. You might fall, but I'm gonna be dropping with you. I'm not going anywhere. So there's drama. We have our drama. We have our. So, like I said, I'm not going to even
or not.
I'm not going to say toxic because you know what? Not all drama is toxic. Not all chaos is toxic. The results can be. But like we've got some chaos. We have no control over some of the stuff happening.
I have no control over the majority of it.
Or minuscule amount of chaos going on. Like right now, you're with your business, you're counseling, you're getting your counseling set up.
Yeah,
it's like
building a practice.
You can do all the stuff that you can do, and you got no control over whether or not somebody actually says, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to pay you. Talk to me."
That's true.
So drama, little bit of chaos, and in the midst of that, we have the peace of we're good. And
I think so.
Like financially, we're going to be squeaking. The pennies are going to squeal. We're going to hear Abe Lincoln crying for help here in a little bit.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it when you sit and wait. There's a lot of sit and wait.
Yes. Which I have gotten really good at over the years, but
you're right. I can do whatever I can. With the networking and the getting my name out there and accepting.
You do your part and you plow the field waiting for rain. That's kind of the place where we're at.
That's all I can do.
But there's nothing wrong with being surrounded by chaos and learning to be at peace amidst the chaos. But when it becomes an unhealthy situation for everyone involved when you think the chaos is peace. So,
understandable, yeah.
And we don't really fight. We have disagreements. Sometimes we get loud, but we have disagreements. We don't really fight. Not
really.
Really.
Haven't in a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, there were some dumb moments before we really learned how to interact as a couple. It was just two individuals living in the same house is not the same as a couple figuring stuff out.
That is the truth.
And
and that was, I would say, easily the first 10, 12 years.
It took a little while. It took a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'd say half, less than half at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It took a little while to get there. And I mean, the whole time we were...
You adapt to having children. You adapt to...
You adapt and you learn. And let's be honest,
stressful
it's like
things.
Two single people coming together, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
And there had always really been the toxicity, I will call it toxicity within my family.
Sure. And
so there was always that level of dealing with that.
Well, and I think your parents were kind of like the exact opposite in some ways. It was toxic and not chaotic.
True. Some of it health oriented.
Sure.
But that was later in the years.
Well, they have their health issues that kind of added some drama, but there was...
overall
it was more like apathy.
With my siblings and just an overall not good.
Yes. However.
And that's the background I came from, though.
Yes.
as you have said, there's a certain level of drama you get used to that you shouldn't. Shouldn't have to. See, my current situation...
Therein lies the shouldn't have to. But the people that were in charge of whether or not that environment had that toxicity didn't have the comprehension to realize that it was.
And that's what I would say that's different. That's different in my upbringing and then even in my earlier adult years compared to my own health issues and what we struggled with in our family unit with our children.
Mm-hmm.
There was little to no control over my issues and that with our children. Whereas my family, my parents, my siblings, that was just a whole different, and then even extended family, just a whole different, I can shut some of that down and I can walk away from it. And it did take me a while to get there, but, because it wasn't healthy and it shouldn't be normal and it shouldn't have ever been just something you learn to live with.
Yeah.
But I did. And I guess if it wasn't for that propensity, I might not have had the mindset I did for so long with myself. But that didn't make all of that healthy either.
No. Well, and see, I think I'm trying to organize my thoughts a little bit because they're a little bit chaotic at this moment. Mostly just, I don't know, that's just where my brain's at. It doesn't my brain doesn't get quieter. It doesn't lose the ability to process. It tends to over-process when I'm at the tail end of a day. And I think the dynamic that is different is that we learned about the things we didn't like in our upbringings. Like, I mean, our parents in their own way were great people. Even if they weren't great couples, even if they dropped the ball as parents on occasion, or a lot, as the case may be, they had the tools, in a lot of respects, to be better than they were. But they never grasped that it needed to be fixed. And that's where we differed, I think. We became aware of the fact that it could be so much better than it was.
Fair.
And then we started working in that direction. We had help. We talked to, we found a counselor, I guess, is like...
Oh, yeah, pastors.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be a pastor. It has to be somebody you trust. Somebody that
friends.
You respect. Somebody
we had
that...
pastors.
Yeah, we had people that...
Had people along the way.
Yes, we did. And some of them pointed us in the right direction. Some of them demonstrated the wrong way to go.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Some demonstrated the correct way to go. And they encouraged. And even the ones that fell apart down the road encouraged us to improve. And we did. And so that we could set a better example so that we could learn to appreciate the peace in the midst of the storm and model for our children what can be. And a lot of the people that we've seen growing up, I can almost unfortunately say everybody I've seen growing up. My siblings, most of my cousins, surprisingly. The ones you wouldn't have saw coming, doing phenomenal right now. But That's another story for another day, or not, as the case may be. Sorry, my cousin's oldest just got married this last week, and it's still kind of a mind bender to me. Oh, I should say oldest son. I don't recall if he's oldest. Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah. I think the sister's
Sorry,
old.
no.
Yeah.
The sister's the oldest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, and that was still a little bit of a... because she grew up in an unhealthy environment. She had a lot of unhealthy habits, and thankfully she grew up. She became better. And the world is very thankful for that. And we just hope it continues down the generations in that group. But I'm still at a loss. It's one of those, when you know something, how do you get people to listen for themselves? You know, if you're driving towards a wall at speed and I have the ability to tell you, hey, you're about to hit a wall. You have time to stop. You have time to turn. You have time to fix this. How do you get them to listen?
It's not on you. That's not on you. There is a level of...
There is. But I think that's...
accountability, and they got to own it, and they got to see it, first of all, and you can't make them see it either. It's really got to be in their time and in their way to grasp all of it. But we don't control that.
Yeah.
We do our best.
See,
I do my best as a person, right? Just friend and family member and all that, and then I do my best professionally. And I can tell you there is no status difference there. Like, it's either the person will either get it or they won't.
Yeah, this is true. I'm very well aware of that, but at the same time, the philosopher Thanos in Avengers. You're not the only one cursed with knowledge. Like, what good is the knowledge? What is it? What good is the insight if you can't use it to help people?
And again, it doesn't mean that the nuggets don't hit them, right? That they can't extract, and that they don't. It's not pointless. It's just a matter of, what's the point? Is it for them or is it for you?
Yeah, see,
See, now you're just going all kinds of deep. What
Sure.
just happened?
That was the point.
When are we going to have a fun one?
I don't know. Well, and
Well, I've had my share of, was that for me or was that for them? Or was that for both? I don't know.
Yeah, therein lies part of the trouble of being me, I guess. And I know it's not just me. Like I said, my particular version of Neurospicy is very gifted in pattern recognition. And I see patterns. I'm very good at seeing patterns. And there's a lot of times I can see a specific set of actions and look back and see the patterns that created it. I use that often in my job. Like, hey, we had this failure on a piece of equipment. Well, that's the symptom. That's not actually the problem. It's a problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is 3 steps ahead of that. This is just the current version of the symptom that is the actual problem.
When you're stuck in the middle of it, though, you're not able to see a lot of those pieces.
Oh, and
it's
yeah.
very often that somebody tries to point them out. You're not in a place to hear it either.
Unfortunately.
You have to be ready and receptive for that.
Unfortunately, people tend to not be receptive until they're well into the wall.
Which is most of what we're dealing with in our personal lives right now.
Yes.
With our loved ones. And that's it's the unfortunate truth. You know, when drama's got a hold and it's all you know and you really don't know how to manage without it. But I think there's also some genuine like mental health things involved with some of those people too.
Sure.
There's a lot that needs to be undone and remade.
Yes.
And a lot of work and consistency that would need to go into that.
Most definitely.
I think with all of them, actually.
Yes. I think
the people coming to my mind anyway.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of overlap in those lists. I think in a lot of cases, people haven't truly articulated to themselves their actual goal. If you have, I think I've mentioned it before, the concept anyway, that if you made a decision for something, if you've set this is goal, this is what's going to happen. You know, there's nobody that got a gold medal in this last week that didn't set a goal that I'm winning that gold medal.
Watching the Olympics is very inspiring.
I will die trying to get that medal. I mean, some of those guys.
That's the mentality.
To that extent, it's like I'm going to get that gold or I'm going to die trying. Like I will blow out every joint I've got. My knees will be shot. I won't be able to walk for the rest of my life, but I'm going to get that gold. When you really, truthfully make a decision like that, you know, when you set that goal, you've made a true decision to achieve that. You've made 100,000 decisions in that moment.
And you've talked about that.
I don't really think most people have ever really set the goal to be a healthy place for their spouse.
It's probably a fair assumption.
I've heard on a number of occasions that, and I don't want to, you know, this isn't picking on women. It's not. That's not what this is. This is just another generality. Is we've brought up an entire generation of women to want to be a bride and not a wife. They want the pageantry and the drama, but they don't actually know what that means. They've lost the message. And again, they haven't actually set the goal. They set the goal. In that case, you know, we'll say being a bride is the goal. They said, then what? It's like, yeah, you did everything
what was modeled for
you
them
did.
Was probably empty.
Well, this and entirely, and probably at least, maybe not clinically, but at least in behavior and mindset, very narcissistic. Now, I'm, again, not trying to, you know, poke women who want to be a bride. Like, I can honestly say I've looked forward to, since the day they were born, my daughter's getting married someday. Even though that concept kind of makes me want to cry. But, hopefully we've done, you know, we've removed the toxicity and given a healthy goal. Like, yeah, being a bride is part of it, but being a bride is the doorway into being a wife, which is part, you know, half of a marriage where you bring each other peace and you bring each other strength and resilience and support. And I think that's fundamentally the toxic part of those chaotic relationships. It's like they're not there for each other. They're kind of there for themselves, which we've seen modeled quite a bit. And they're not growing for each other. They're obviously growing because you're either growing or dying because there's no third direction. Tommy boy. But the idea that chaos is comfortable. I can appreciate how that happens. I don't need peace outside of my home, because fundamentally we're at war with the world. But the relationship you're in should be the thing that gives you strength to face the world, to give you that place to recover, that place to grow, that place where you can rest, to gather strength and inspiration to go on and fight the world again tomorrow. Anyway,
I think that, we could talk more about a lot of it, but I think that that's as succinct as you can be with it.
And I get excitement is a good thing, and being excited in your marriage is a good thing, but the relationship itself shouldn't be the thing that causes all of that necessarily.
Yeah.
It should be, what are you doing together that brings excitement, that you both can, if the energy is, all of the excited energy is coming from the stress between you, then you're not growing together. You're just grating on each other. You grow close to each other. You cling onto the other. And then you find that excitement out in the world. That zip line, or the adventure of being parents.
Adrenaline junkie.
Maybe to a point. But
I can appreciate everything you're saying.
You need, if you're one of those people out there that your relationships keep falling apart, it's like, hey, it was quiet and it got boring. Like, that's, you want comfortable.
It can take a minute to come down, but you can find a balance.
Not that not that you shouldn't have some excitement in your relationship and some good positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not feeling like it's comfortable, or you're not comfortable because it's there's no drama. Like, you don't mistake a lack of drama, or don't mistake drama for healthy.
Which I think you've said recently.
Yes. Don Amigal.
Yes.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. Yes.
Well, actually, it was Ron Swanson talking to Don Amigal. It's like, there's nothing wrong with excitement, but don't confuse a lack of excitement for being unhealthy.
Well said.
And if you struggle with that, there are counselors standing by.
Thank you for that plug.
There are people out there looking who want to help you.
We really do need to start doing fun things.
We can do fun
So
things.
we need to look more at fun. But thank you, everyone, for listening to a little,
to my
little something, a little deep, a little there, little sensitive, maybe.
It is what it is.
But
I hope you enjoyed. It was meandering and kind of all over the place, but
headspace.
That's kind of where we're at. Welcome to my head.
And it's not even close. Okay.
In part. How's that? Anyway.
For today.
I'm Fix It.
and feel it.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
You have a great one.